In 2019, President Yoweri Museveni introduced the Emyooga initiative aimed at promoting job creation and improving household income of 68% Ugandans in subsistence agriculture and other groups. Interested parties form groups which later come together and make circles that are licensed by the Ministry of Trade. After that, the Microfinance Support Center is responsible for the implementation of the program by training the groups and circles to equip them with knowledge of financial discipline and investment. The district commercial officers, the chief administrative officers and resident district commissioners take over in ensuring that the beneficiaries use the money in an appropriate manner. The 260 billion shillings is supposed to be doled out to over 6,000 circles in the 146 districts in Uganda by end of 2021. However, there are reports that some of the money has been stolen, with some leaders asking up to 10% commission before approving payment to the circles. Each circle is supposed to get 30 million shillings. The resident city commissioner for Kampala says the leadership is to blame for the poor implementation of the program.
I am partly to blame because I'm expected to be this angel who is so effective without challenges. I am supposed to monitor, effectively monitor. With my deputies, we are supposed to effectively monitor. So I cannot hide away and say we are not to blame. But mainly it is normally the program implementers. If they have goodwill for this government, if they have goodwill for the programs, and they know the levels of poverty, the challenges this government is going through to improve the economic status of Ugandans, some of them would not be doing what they are doing.
Economists argue that much as it is good to decentralize the management of the fund, it would be a good idea to include the private sector in implementation.
What I'm trying to say that the production function is not just money. In order for you to produce something, you need more than money. You need skills, you need entrepreneurship. So when you create an infrastructure for disbursing funds, you need to have an equal infrastructure for disbursing skills. Now, it is an advantage in this case that they are involving the local government, where they can follow the local economic development principles. But still, the private sector, I don't see it. That should have been an important component from the institutional setup. Then also, the setup of the fund itself. It should have been maybe a legal entity on its own, so that it is fully accountable.
The Makerere University economics don Dr. Fred Muhumuza argues that the facility is better managed at the district to avoid schemers.
Then how do you find technical people? Basically the parish development committee, which are there, but they have not been very active. Now these are going to be made up of members, more or less who the communities know. And these will be the people to receive these proposals when people are applying, to make sure the thing that people want to do actually speaks to the terrain, speaks to the needs of the people. But we are not also funding people who we don't know. Because you don't bring it to a parish development committee and you have come from Kiboga, you are going to Chankwanzi. You will be kicked out. Those are some of the accountabilities, not just accounting for money, but also for the process. So once these people are done, there will be money released to them. Now, where is this money sitting? Those are still being developed.
However, Muhumuza believes that for the fund to make greater impact, it must be delinked from politics.
We have seen that cycle of every political cycle. A new program comes, Intandikwa, Prosperity for all sorts of things. Looking like certain politicians also want to ride that wave. Instead of counteracting that wrong wave, certain politicians want to ride it. So Emyooga also came in and was carried along within that trend that had already been there. So there is no doubt that some circles which accessed Emyooga funds were built on that historical connection within the cycle of the politics as well.
The entire government machinery is political. The executive has an obligation to register its presence at all levels in this country. Maybe how do we link it from the bad politics?
We sought the opinions of the economists on what are the ramifications of poorly managed 260 billion shillings fund.
If the money that is disbursed is used for consumption instead of production, in which case the intention of job creation and having a multiplier is not achieved, and then instead you achieve inflation, which then the central bank has to fight with, and in the process the interest rates will go up, there will be monetary tightening, and then it could have macroeconomic impact, yet the intention was micro.
If we continue with status quo, the money will continue to provide suboptimal results because some of the beneficiaries will not be the right ones. But also now, that said, whoever has picked that money for personal gain will go and celebrate. Now the other danger you have is the people's anger out of hardship, socio-economic hardship, not even political, will continue. So unless you address this and change, you run a danger that the anxiety, the anger, the social discontent in the population will remain.
Many have said that the Emyooga initiative is a very good program, but the main problem it has is the fact that the infrastructure or the frameworks put in place, especially legally, to ensure that the people who receive this money remain frugal enough and not just blow it and make others miss out on the same initiative. But now it remains a waiting game to see whether the district leadership is not going to mix politics and economics. Sudhir Ruhanga,